You have about 30 seconds before we lock and load. Go top off your coffee and get ready for the Gunsmiths. The Gunsmiths are brought to you by Williams Gun Sight. Have questions about what's new in the market? What your gun is worth? The latest laws and regulations? Call the Gunsmiths at 810-743-8255, 743-8255. And now, your Gunsmiths, Jonathan and Jacob Smith.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the Gunsmith Show. You can reach us here in the studio at 743-8255 or toll free 866-533-1530. Glad to have you on board this morning, and we are about to start discussing something that is draws a lot of fire from both sides. Constitutional carry. Jake, what can you tell us about it?
Well, a new series of bills have been introduced into the state house. It's House Bills 5301 to 5304, introduced by 4 state reps from across the state. Now, these bills aim to allow basically permitless carry of handguns in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
So all of that changed on last year to allow for all the new concealed carry regulations. This is aimed at basically allowing permitless carry. No need to have the classes, the permits, waiting in line at the courthouse. It's legal to do it. Now, that is called constitutional carry in the state of Michigan. There are a few other states in our nation that allow this.
Yes, there are.
I believe the number is right now 4 or 5. Now, one of the key things about this is that it's still all the regulations of a CPL. There's certain buildings you cannot carry in, and there's certain places that you have to have permission before you can carry in. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't take away a CPL and all its regulations nationwide.
Or notoriety.
Right. If you're a traveler, if you like to travel and you have a CPL currently, you're going to want to keep your CPL.
Remember, a CPL is a concealed pistol license. For those of you that are new to the gun industry and what we do, a CPL is a concealed pistol license. Michigan has one of the most highly sought after CPL licensing systems in America.
Right.
And one of the most highly regarded ones. So our licenses are good in almost every state that has a concealed pistol license enacted.
Right.
In other words,
and that's why you don't want to get rid of your CPL.
Right.
If you travel, other states are not constitutional carry, so you cannot just carry your gun, into a McDonald's in Ohio because they're not like that. So you want to keep your CPL if you're a traveler. Now, one of the reps that introduced this, Representative Tom Barrett from Potterville, he says that the current concealed weapons permit amounts to nothing more than a state tax on a freedom guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. I
understand that thought process. I do understand that. When it all boils down to is even getting a purchase permit in the state of Michigan is another form of registration. It's just another way of them compiling a list of who has guns. True?
That's true.
It is.
It's true.
So if he says the current concealed weapons permit amounts to nothing more than a state tax on a freedom guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, that kind of rings true.
It's that sentence there is what really struck me as he's absolutely right.
Yes, he is. Very, very common sense kind of guy. I think I like this Representative Barrett.
Now, these bills would make concealed carry legal everywhere outside the current concealed pistol-free zones. It includes your vehicle, your bike, snowmobile, or any other motorized vehicle. However, education should still be a personal requirement of every person that is going to, if this passes, education needs to be a key if everybody's going to start carrying.
Now, and we always emphasize responsible gun ownership.
Exactly.
And Jake, I know you're trying to emphasize that again right now. We don't want, every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there carrying guns because not everybody's cut out to carry guns.
And usually those that are not legally allowed to carry, those are the ones you have to worry about.
Yeah, it's the ones that don't follow the laws is what we need to worry about. Yet there are very few laws against them that are talked about in the media. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
the laws that they discuss on the media are merely limiting the availability and restricting law-abiding citizens. They don't tend to restrict many non-productive people from our midst of having guns.
Right. Now, if for those of you out there that have taken your CPL class and you've only taken section 1 of the class, there's a second group of the class. It's very hard to find a class that does the second part.
Yes.
But in reality, that first class you take, that's only defense inside the home.
That's what it's designed for. Teach you the basics of how you can defend yourself, when to carry, when not to carry, where to carry, how to.
No, it teaches you how to defend yourself inside your home.
Yes, but it also talks about where you can carry and where you can't.
Oh, legality wise.
Exactly.
Yes. So if this goes through into an effect, which I see it possibly happening because of all the focus on Flint water.
Yes.
I see this being completely overlooked by those that would be opposed and right in the law.
I'm not sure. I have kind of mixed feelings about it, and
I'm not sure if it's what's best, because right now our CPLs actually regulate pretty well the crazies out of the bunch.
I'd like to talk to John Gleason about this, our county clerk, see what he thinks.
I don't know. He might be against it.
He might be.
It's removing a lot of money from the county government.
Well, but remember, they're also burdened with the task of concealed pistol licenses. So it's a burden as well. It's a double-edged sword for him. But it also, I think there's got to be some pride involved too, because it's up to them to warrant and justify these things and make sure that they're properly submitted, and it keeps you on your toes. People that have their CPLs don't usually want to lose them. Remember, the basics. Every time you get pulled over, even for a little speeding violation, or you rolled a stop sign, always remember to have your CPL right there in your wallet and make sure that you discuss these things with the police officer. I am a CPL holder, whether you're carrying or not, you have to disclose. So that would take, for a police officer's point of view, they probably already look at everybody as if they're could be considered carrying concealed anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, so it would add more stress to the police force, which I don't like to see. We already have a stressed police force. But could it save lives? Certainly could. Certainly could.
Now, as it is, it is an attempt to reduce the barrier to gun ownership, and I applaud that. There's some things there that, people, maybe you can't, due to health reasons, take a CPL class.
Right.
You see a lot of times stories of an injured vet or somebody who's, stuck in their home and wants to have a gun or wants to be able to carry that gun and can't make it to a class. Why not?
There's people that can't leave their houses because they're worried about their houses being broken into.
Exactly.
What about those folks?
So
it's a violent world we live in. It really is.
Constitutional carry would be a major responsibility on those gun owners that decide to carry. And the goal we'd have to show here is to prove to the anti-gun crowd that their fears and their claims are not worthy of anything, because we can not shoot each other in the streets like an Old West shootout, how they think it's going to happen with concealed carry. There's a lot of things that have to be proven to the anti-gun crowd if this is going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
To get them on board.
To get them on board.
Yeah. Well, there's a great divide in that between us and them. Put it that way, a great divide, and it's a whole different mindset. So, there are a group of, and it's a large group here in Michigan, especially. Look at the way the votes go in the state. The divide between. It's just divisiveness between the two.
Yep.
There's always a core there that is very seldom crossed. So it's just you can compare it to abortion.
Right.
It's almost the same comparison. You either believe in life or you don't believe in life, and we believe in life. That's why we carry, because we want to live, we want to survive, we don't want to be victims. And I know you probably don't either. You're listening to this show. We're try to talk about responsible gun ownership, and that's what we're doing. We're bringing this to the forefront so that you understand there are laws coming, and there are constantly lawmakers trying to make laws for more access to guns, and then there's also those trying to stop law-abiding citizens from owning guns.
Yep.
It goes both ways.
Yep.
So,
All right. Well, let's go to commercial break.
okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about pricing ourselves out of the gun market.
Remember, you can always reach us right here in the studio at 743-8255.
Or 866-533-1530.
All right, hang on tight. We'll be right back with more of the Gunsmith Show.
If you want your home to feel sound when you are not around, call Pal Alarm. To protect your safekeepings and stop anyone from peeking, call Pal Alarm. When the house gets locked down so you can get out of town, call Pal Alarm. Give Pal Alarm a call today at 810-908-8298. That's 810-908-8298 or palalarm.com.
Man's got to know his limitations.
You just can't spend a whole day at the gun store anymore. Thankfully, the crew at Williams Gunsight Company has created the best way to spend the day at the gun store by doing it online. WilliamsGunsight.com is the way to shop for your used handguns, rifles, shotguns, and more, with thousands of guns in stock for your total gun shopping experience. Check out WilliamsGunsight.com and find your perfect match today.
And now back to the Gunsmiths.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Here it is, February 6th. Bottom of the hour, looking up. It's already 8:30, Jake. Can you believe it? Hope you got your coffee filled up. You happy? You happy to be here today?
Happy to be here.
Good. Now, what are we talking about next, buddy?
All right. Well, on today's show, we want to talk about how is it and is it possible to be priced out of the gun business? And when talking about expensive firearms, do we scare people away from the firearms world?
Yeah, a lot of people probably look at when we talk about used guns and we go from a $229 gun to a $1,095 gun. They just
and I do that because I want to show the spectrum of guns that are out there.
Yeah,
I would never
there's
ever limit somebody to say, "Oh, you can only buy this because it's
right,
well over $1,000." Absolutely not.
Right, and there are guns that are $88,000. There are guns that are $88.
When we had the most expensive guns in the world segment last year, about this time, some of those Kriegoffs and the Holland and Hollands were $400,000 to $500,000 for a rifle.
Right. And
they're made to kill 2 elephants with one shot.
Well, I don't know if it's ever done but it's
I'm sure someone's tried.
Well, the point is, we discuss the values of guns. We discuss how much guns cost. People, that's one of the most often asked questions is, how much are these guns going for? And we don't sell them. We pay attention to the market and we discuss it with folks, and we try to guide people in a smart manner so that they don't, blow the bank or blow their whole, you don't want to dig into your retirement. You don't want to.
Right.
You don't want to. Cause problems for your family. So yeah, there's people that have a $88 .22 rifle and they got a $22 scope sitting on top of it. But you know what? Squirrel hunt's perfect.
Exactly.
Talking to a young man yesterday, Matt was saying, John, he says, I've got a 30-30 my grandpa bought at a farm auction, and he says I put a cheap scope on it. I have under $100 into the whole gun, and he says I have killed so many deer with that rifle. It's just such a good rifle, and he's proud of it. And there are other people that spend literally thousands on their guns, on one gun, and maybe it's just kind of like having that sports car that you seldom drive, but it's there. So, hats off to all of you. You're being gun owners, and that's good. It's your right. It's your right to do that. But what we noticed is, and there's a story, and it just popped out in this Guns and Ammo that just came in this week,
which was for March. March's Guns and Ammo.
Yeah, March's Guns and Ammo. Guns and Ammo writes.
No, not Guns and Ammo.
Well, no, in their writings, in their book,
yes,
there's one segment. It's like feedback,
right?
And there's some interesting feedback that comes in. These almost every single one of them. They're fun to read. We enjoy reading them. Well, this one was interesting. Dave from Kingsport, Tennessee, mentions a very, very good point. He says, I went to the mailbox today and found my January 2016. So this is the March issue, but he wrote about what he found back in December in the January issue. I was anxious to get inside and read after I saw the teaser across the top of the cover of the magazine proclaiming that Night Force, which is a big scope manufacturer, had a new bargain price scope. And that would perk some people's interest because Night Force scopes are pretty expensive scopes. Well, tell them what happened, Jake.
This anxiousness turned to dismay and astonishment when I read that Tom Beckstrom had proclaimed that $1,150 was, in his own words, such a low price. Which takes him back, and this is the reader again saying, takes him back to the March 2015 Guns and Ammo magazine, where Kyle Lamb, a veteran who is a writer in their book, suggested that the loopholed Variac 6 1-to-6 power scope was not that expensive at $1,200. Is Guns and Ammo out of touch with their listeners?
Well, it's a very good point. And again, this is from a fellow named Dave from Kingsport, Tennessee, writing a letter to Guns and Ammo magazine.
And it is very, and I've said it for the past 3 years since I really started noticing that a lot of times they'll put the most expensive Daniel Defense AR-15 on the cover.
Yes.
An AR-15 that's well over $4,000, and it's like, whoa, time out. Thank you for not putting a Ruger on the cover every month, but there's
they do
other
put
guns
Rugers on the cover a lot.
There's other guns that are far less,
yeah,
and work the same.
Yeah, put a Rock River on there that's
Exactly.
$795, or even then that's there's still a lot of people that say there's no way I'm going to spend $795 on an AR-15.
Exactly.
And you can put them together in pieces for $500, but the point is, can you price yourself out of the gun market? And I think we call them, we have a name for them. We call them gun snobs, and unfortunately, and we try to never be that way. We get a chance to play with a lot of guns and check them out, get to the range, shoot. We have people invite us out and here, try the shotgun. Yeah, I got $4,500 into the shotgun, but that's not the point. Shoot it. They're a joy to shoot. I mean, these guns are highly engineered, beautiful weapons. Whether they're designed to bust clay pigeons or they're designed to hit the steel target at 1,200 yards, they're beautiful weapons and they're fun to shoot. But as you see the way we run things, the last segment of the show, we're going to discuss a gun that we only got $400 into, roughly, and it's amazing.
Right.
We're more bargain shoppers. We're more down. We're Flint guys. Jake, you're born and raised in Flint. I'm an Oakland County boy that moved up here because I fell in love with a girl from Genesee County, and we have.
So you're the Oakland County snob.
No.
I see. Is this a brag fest for you?
No, I am not an Oakland.
I had a horse growing up.
No. I hated that horse. But anyways, no. The point is, we're not gun snobs. We try to be down to earth. We try to be accessible, reachable, and not snobs about what we do. And I hope it comes across that way. We try not to be arrogant whatsoever. But the point is, some of these magazines make you go, wow.
There's plenty of people, myself included. I'm not going to run out to the bank and take out $1,200 for just a scope.
Right.
Now, there's plenty of people that will settle for a $39 task scope, but then there's plenty of people that will also say, never spend less than the price of the rifle on a scope.
Right. And I've always thought
Swarovskis, Zeiss's, Schmidt-Benders, scopes that are easily, and there are loopholes.
Night Forces, loopholes. Even some of your high-end Nikons are way up there.
7, 8, 9, well over $1,000 for scopes.
There's Bushnells that list for over $1,000 too. But the point is, I went about 25 years of never spending more than like $89 on a scope, and I've done amazing things with rifles. And I'm sure there's most of you out there going, yep, I've never spent that much on a scope. So what's the difference, I guess? And we could bring in, we have good friends that work for Zeiss. They could explain to us why their scopes are so expensive and why the optics are worth that much money. It's like pills. How come an aspirin costs, 12 cents and this other pill costs $350 a pill? It's the markup. It's because supply and demand. They've created a name for themselves, and they can justify it in their eyes why it's so much money. They're not trying to sell 1 million of them. They're trying to sell 150 of them at a great price for them to keep their profit margins up and keep to warrant their price, to keep the want to purchase that expensive item. So
now, here's the other one. If we look at a lot of the items that are coming out today, and I want to talk about this, my first thought is that item needed? How many brands are going to come out with a 1911, for instance?
Oh yeah, used to be it was Colt, and then Kimber, and then Remington, and now Ruger, and Rock River, and there's so
I think
many.
There's 45 different manufacturers of 1911s now.
It's amazing.
So that's my first thought: is the product you're coming out with worth? Is it the same price as all the other brands? Why would I not go with one of theirs? And is that product something new, or is it simply there because your brand wanted to get into it? For instance, the new gun that I think will probably be on next month's cover of Guns and Ammo, and this is the new Kimber K6, which is a Kimber 6-shot 357 Magnum revolver, their first venture into the revolver game. Just introduced at the SHOT Show. Now this is a simple snub nose. They say it's the lightest 6-shot 357 Magnum revolver on the market for concealed carry.
Okay.
MSRP on this Kimber revolver is $899.
It's odd and I look at this and I go, from a marketing point of view, I know revolvers, it seems to me that we've gone from the beautiful pythons of years past. Now a lot of them are kind of, I wouldn't say dumbed down, but they're brought down to an affordable price. And then they pop this one into the kind of high MSRP.
Exactly.
$900 MSRP.
Now, do you feel a part of this price is the fact that it's a Kimber?
Yeah, and they're probably going to try to pay for the engineering they put into it because they had to retool to make it.
And then here's my other question. Like I said before, is this firearm needed?
Okay.
Think about it. If you were Kimber, why would you do a 6-shot 357 Magnum?
Not a whole lot of people carrying 6-shot 357 Magnum revolvers.
In a 2-inch stub nose. Have you ever fired a 357 Magnum out of a stub nose revolver?
Yes.
Have you seen for the next 8 hours?
Gives you a little bit of that blue dot syndrome is what I call it.
Now, why not do another 5-shot 38 special? Granted, there's a lot of those out there in the market. Do a 6-shot 38 special instead.
Well, and nice thing about a 357 is, of course, you can shoot 38s in it.
I know. So, do they price themselves into more of the exclusive of gun makers with a handgun coming out in this price?
I think you got a lot of people that only want to own a Kimber, because they've read so much about it and their friends have Kimbers and they want to have a Kimber, and they are fine 1911s. And I'm sure this gun is probably very nice. And once we get our hands on one to feel it and check it out, maybe even shoot it at Williams.
And I'm sure I'm not knocking it. I've never known anybody to have a bad Kimber.
No, I never have either.
And I don't mean that in any disrespect. I mean the fact that, is this simply just another expensive revolver? Let me take this into example. Smith & Wesson Model 640, which is, I would say, the comparative to this Kimber.
Sure.
2-inch barrel, 357 Magnum, list price is about $100 less than the Kimber.
And this is suggested retail. It's not what you're going to pay, but it's the MSRP.
So is the Ruger LCR in 357 Magnum. It's, I believe it's $300 less.
Okay.
Than the Kimber suggested retail.
All right.
Do they all do the same thing? Yes. Now, if anybody's out there looking for a compact Magnum revolver, the first thing you're going to probably go to the gun shows. If you're going to go to Williams, want to see a compact Magnum revolver, they're going to say, "Well, this is the Ruger. It sells for $519,
right?
Let's say,
and
okay,
and highly sought after.
Exactly.
They can barely keep them on the shelf.
Then you look at the Smith & Wesson, that'll be $200 more. Yeah, but it's a Smith & Wesson. It's a great revolver,
right?
Then they'll say, well, here's the Kimber for $150 more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what makes it special? Well, it
it's
holds
good.
one more round.
It's a Kimber.
It's a Kimber.
Yep. It's kind of like,
Do they all do the same thing? Yes.
if we were to compare it to vehicles, you got, I got a Ford truck, or I got a Chevy truck, or I got a Dodge truck. Oh, but what's that one you saw the other day? The one you saw that was that had Red Bull on the side of it?
It was an international Unimog.
Unimog. Well, it might be like comparing a Ford truck to a Unimog. I don't know. It might be that much finer, but it's a wheel gun. And hats off to them. A company that makes 1911s and is one of the finest manufacturers of 1911s in America, to come out with a new 6-shot revolver. I'm all for it because it's good for the gun industry. But it does seem to be kind of highly priced. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see. It's a neat looking gun. I saw pictures of it.
But I think it will be on the cover of Guns and Ammo in the next coming months. I think it will.
Knowing Kimber, it'll be on the back cover because every single issue of Guns and Ammo and American Rifleman has Kimbers on the back cover.
That's right. All right. Well, we're going to go to commercial break.
All right.
Now, when we come back, we're going to talk. We're going to take this not pricing ourselves out of the gun industry into a whole new level, and we're going to talk about what we just did and is finally completed with our American Rifle Project rifle.
Okay,
so
good.
When we come back, more Gunsmith Show in just a few minutes, so stay tight.
Do you have a project that requires custom cabinetry or custom woodwork? If so, you need to see the friendly and knowledgeable sales team at Michigan Lumber Company. For years, the experienced staff at Michigan Lumber have been turning out beautifully handcrafted molding and custom millwork right here in the Flint area. And believe me, they're totally dedicated to quality and complete customer satisfaction. So call 810-232-4108, 232-4108, or log on to MichiganLumber.com. Michigan Lumber Company, proudly serving the Flint and surrounding communities for over 90 years. That's experience you can count on.
If you want your home to feel sound when you are not around, call Pal Alarm. To protect your safekeepings and stop anyone from peeking, call Pal Alarm. When the house gets locked down so you can get out of town, call Pal Alarm. Give Pal Alarm a call today at 810-908-8298. That's 810-908-8298 or palalarm.com.
Attorney Timothy J. Cassady is the pro gun attorney that we here at the Gunsmith Show use.
With more than 20 years of experience as a prosecuting attorney, law professor, and holding a past seat on the Genesee County Gun Board,
Tim Cassady is your pro gun attorney.
contact Attorney Cassady today at 810-569-5441 or email him at attorneycassidy@gmail.com.
And now back to the Gunsmiths.
All right. Now this has been an interesting talk today, Jake, on the Gunsmith Show. Here it is, February 6th. We are discussing the price of things and how things are priced. We talked about scopes a minute ago. We talked about, Tascos and Zeisses. We went from one end to the other.
Yeah.
We talked about handguns from being an $88, 38 special, RG or whatever, one of those cheap FGs, yeah, made in Argentina, I think.
5-shot revolver that to reload, you have to remove the cylinder completely, unscrew it from the gun.
Yep.
Your classic Saturday night special.
Right. And all the way up to $1,000 snub nose revolvers, roughly. So there's a plethora of guns to talk about. Now, what we decided about 2 years ago, you said
When this rifle,
pretty much first came out,
it was right when this rifle first came out.
it was called the Ruger American Rifle. A bargain priced, bolt action, got a composite stock, like every Ruger. It's got a good barrel. This one came bare bones, but cool.
This was black
All
composite,
black.
blue barrel, or blue everything else.
You got it.
308 Winchester.
You worked the action. You bought it at Williams, right?
I did. 22-inch barrel.
I think you bought it from Eli.
I did.
And you racked it, and you said, Dad, I like this gun. And I said, well, and you got it at a great price. And you said, let's put this. Your thought process on putting it together was interesting. Jake, you set a goal, and your goal was to make it all work for under $400
and
Now-
have it shoot clover leaves at 100 yards.
You wanted Jake. You wanted an accurate rifle, so you shot it, made sure it worked.
Yes.
It did work. You were surprised at the accuracy, and you were doing clover leaves at 100 yards with a scope from just one of the scopes we had in stock.
Now it's a Barska 3-9x40 Colorado series scope.
So it was a Christmas gift.
It was actually on my first slug. Well, not a slug gun. It was on my first shotgun
a
for
shotgun
hunting.
that you would put a scope on, right?
Yes.
And I actually bought that scope for you at Dunham's. It was on sale for I think $29.95, and we put a set of $9 rings on it to mount the scope.
And I found a bipod at a gun show for about $20. So altogether, and at the time when these rifles came out brand new, you could send in the Ruger, and they'd send you out this really nice cheek pad that straps onto the rifle, and it holds 5 caliber rounds and
Five rounds of ammunition. For
right.
it.
And it's velvet, or not velvet, but like a fleece side, so it's comfortable for your cheek piece. Now, at the time Ruger was doing that, they were new. So we put the whole thing together, and I was honestly saying this truthfully, I was astonished at how accurate the gun was for that price.
Yes.
And I've told people that since we've done this is how, if you're looking for a cheap gun that's very accurate, look at the American rifle. Now, we had it for, I think, 2 years.
Yeah.
And it shot great.
Yep.
And last summer, we contacted Lauer Weaponry and Dura-Coat. Lauer Weaponry is a distributor for Dura-Coat, which is a firearms finishing product. You'll see it. It's in all black, or it's in tans or greens or whatever else it might be. But we went after them. We had a project. We said we want to take this American rifle that we know shoots great and put a great product on it. So we picked out a pattern from Dura-Coat called the Afghan Pattern. A little more of a Desert Storm style camouflage job.
Yeah, not the digital one.
Nope.
But it looks to blend in a little bit more as if it's, maybe a little bit of grass or sticks or something sticking out of the sand. Interesting choice in the design. And you got hooked up with them. They took care of you.
I talked to Dura-Coat. They sent us the paint package along with the pattern stickers needed.
Yes.
And then we took it over to Williams, and Carl, who is their specialist for applying these paint jobs.
Right. He does Cerakote and Dura-Coat.
And Dura-Coat,
finishes.
correct. Yes. So he applied all this, and he took us, Steve and Carl went through and did photos of the rifle as it was going through the process. And
yes.
As it was all brown and as it became tan.
Got them forwarded right to you.
Got them forwarded right to me, and the gun is now done.
Now, this gun would still be on display at Williams, but there's no place to display it right now.
So
it would be on display in the old part of the building that's being remodeled.
Right.
So finally, after about 4 months, it'd been done for about 4 months or 3 months. A couple days ago, Jake said, I'm going to go get my gun and bring it home.
I don't like owning a gun and not knowing where it's at.
Well, well, we've done it in the past. When they Cerakoted my 357 Magnum Smith, we kept it in the case there for a long time so people could see what can be done to guns. This gun is beautiful. They did a great job on it. Now, there's pictures online of it, right?
There are. If you go to our Facebook page, the Gunsmith Show, there's a whole photo album there this week of this rifle before and afters.
Okay.
And it will be on our website. Our website is still under construction, like you mentioned before.
But this is good. It's not going to be much longer. It's probably almost done. We've built, you and Mrs. Smith built the website over the past years. We're almost 3 years old now. We're almost at 3-year point with the show. And that website has grown and grown, and now it's gotten so big. There's so much in it. We had to make it bigger, so we had to buy a whole new package. That's why it's under construction. So
if you get onto our Facebook page, The Gunsmith Show, you can see this rifle. I'm happy the way it turned out.
Yes.
I am happy. And like we said, we did the original rifle. We put together a rifle that is perfectly accurate, I'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
For less than $400. And I wanted to talk about that because at the same time we're Yes, you could have done the same thing in a Remington 700 with the police barrel, and
Yeah.
you put a really expensive loop-pulled Vari-X 3 on, and you'd have about $2,000.
Yeah,
into that.
$1,300 to $1,700 is where you'd be with that.
Well,
so
$700 rifle and an $800-900 scope.
right,
Yep.
and mounts and a bipod, and you can spend a lot of money. It's just like the kid, growing up on the farm and puts the pieces of that car together in the barn and makes a little race car out of it. Or you can go buy a Ford GT 500, or Ford GT and spend $65,000 and the kid beats you. So I mean, it's all about, if you're going to spend money, you want to spend it right. Jake, you were lucky you got a good rifle for one thing.
And I will say this: when we have that rifle,
Yes.
the bolt is so much different than a new. Because I'm left-handed, I went to look at a new left-handed one, saying, let's do the same thing. Completely different.
They have changed. The original Ruger American rifles to the ones now, there's a different feel in the bolt.
The bolts are much different. They're a little bit not as smooth.
Right. It's a little bit clankety. Just a little more tolerance in there for movement. And the first ones were now, not to say that pulling your bolt back on a rifle makes a difference in the accuracy. The accuracy is from where that shell goes into the chamber and the rifling and the way the barrel works. But it is nice to feel a smooth action.
Yes.
We've talked about Tikkas. I don't think there's a smoother action out there than a Tikka. Even some of your Weatherby Mark Vs are beautiful like that. But this Ruger is, I'm very impressed with it. And maybe you get a chance, you'll see us out at the range with it. You'll have some fun with us, and you can get your picture taken with it. How's that? Because you don't see many. You don't see many in this color pattern either. So look forward to getting out this spring to the range and doing some shooting. But along that line though, Jake, we've got. Do you have more to talk about this, or no? You wanted me to talk about something else?
You can talk about what you have an idea of.
Well, I was just thinking. We got a rifle coming up that we do have our new CZ rifle in stock now.
We do.
And this is a trial gun. With the CZ is working with us. We're going to start talking about this rifle. It is a 30-06 bolt action rifle. Their new model.
Their model 557 Sporter Synthetic.
It is got a really, free float barrel just like the Ruger. Super smooth action. 30-06 comes with the integral scope mounts on top of it. Are integrated right into the gun. The fit and feel of the stock is superb. We're going to scope it this week. Jake, you actually have a Leopold Vari-X 1 you're going to put on it just for a trial scope, a 3-to-9 variable. And we're going to give this one a shot too, and we're going to try it out and give you an honest to goodness. I mean, this is a gun that this company CZ, which is a huge rifle making company, and pistols.
And this rifle is made in the Czech Republic.
Right. Now, what are they going to do with it? They're promoting it. They've got us giving it a shot so we can talk about it. And we're going to discuss it on the air, and we're going to discuss it online.
And we're going to do some videos of it.
And it's going to be an honest-to-goodness example of trying to be impartial. We appreciate them giving us a chance to give it a shot. So that'll be coming up soon, too. We're going to start putting some pictures on because it's all set up on the bench right now. We're getting ready to scope it probably later today.
Yes.
So
now, we talked about those scopes earlier. I want to bring this up for a second. Remember, folks, Leopolds have a lifetime warranty no matter who the owner is.
Right. You can be the fifth owner.
And you can buy that rifle for $50 at a garage sale, and if it breaks...
With the scope on it.
With the scope.
Yeah.
Leupold will cover it still. So remember that when you're looking at scopes, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on a brand new Leupold. You might find a used one somewhere.
There you go. They have a lifetime guarantee, and they're usually pretty darn good. Now, there's a lot of companies like that. They stand behind their scopes, so we're thankful.
And we've done work with Mueller's before, and those are good scopes, not a lot of money. And they're
not terrible.
Not terrible.
And and same thing even with like EOTech. We thought it was out of our price range. We looked at it and said, yeah, let's give it a shot. Very cool. It's just one of those, a different site project to work on. There are people that love red dot sights, people that can't stand them, people that want lasers. Hey, it's a free country. You can pick out what you want. Well, as always, it's a pleasure bringing you the Gunsmith Show. Every week the time goes by so fast. We hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about guns today. And remember, we're here every Saturday morning from 8 till 9, right here live on AM 1470 and AM 1530, WLCO and WFNT.
Right.
Jake?
Now, next week, stay tuned. We're going to have more talks about guns. Now, in the meantime, visit us online, Facebook at The Gunsmith Show, Also on Twitter, Gunsmith Show. And you can always send us an email, shooter@thegss.com. But then again, if you want to send us a letter, The Gunsmith Show, P.O. Box 45, Flushing, Michigan, 48433. Until next week, I'm Jake.
And I'm John. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and thanks for listening to us today, folks. See you next week.